So let's take a moment as we begin just to make whatever adjustments we need to make to our posture, stretching anything that feels like it needs to be stretched, rotated, tensed up, and released. Notice if there's any part of your clothing that might be irritating you. And if you need to make any minor adjustments in your posture as we go along, just feel free to listen to the body and attend to that. And if, as you're noticing an irritation, you might take a pause, take a breath, maybe two or three, just to check in and notice the irritation as it arises. You don't have to rush to fix it, but you also don't need to spend this time in discomfort. There are practices that invite the exploration and the curiosity of that discomfort. And if it's a minor discomfort, it certainly helps us embellish our practice by staying present to it and not rushing to fix it. But if you're really in pain and it becomes all you're focused on, then for our purposes here, you really are welcome to make whatever adjustments you need to make along the way. So finding a comfortable place to settle into stillness. Noticing what it's like to cease movement, feeling that residual energy still available to you in the body from having just moved. And noticing that from a place of stillness, we can really sense that life force moving through us when we move from being active into a place of quiet. Connecting with the sensation of your body, feeling the entirety of your body, the contours of the body, and welcoming your body to the practice, welcoming yourself to this space of quiet, this space of calm. Or perhaps you might be welcoming yourself to a space of chaos that you're becoming aware of because your mind is busy. And whatever it is you're welcoming yourself to, let it just be what is alive in this moment for you. You might just take a quick inventory. How is the body feeling in this moment? Is there any way to invite greater ease into the body? Again, through some adjustment you might need to make, or perhaps you're noticing a tense muscle or two, so you might just gently massage that or tense it and release it. Taking inventory of the mind, inviting some ease into the mind. Perhaps it's going a million miles per hour. Imagining that you can slow down the pacing of your thoughts to match the rhythm of your breath. Inviting some ease into the mind. And checking in with the heart and just noticing, is the heart open today? Is the heart more protected today? And whatever you find there is as it needs to be. There's no right or wrong. But just inviting an ease into the heart, not an ease that opens the heart necessarily, but an ease with whatever you find the heart doing right now. There's no need to judge what the heart is doing. And connecting with your breath and feeling air moving in and air moving out. and welcoming yourself yet again to your practice. Greeting yourself as you would greet a weary warrior that is stopping to seek shelter. Inviting yourself into this moment. Continuing to monitor tension that might want to creep back into the body. And inviting yet further release or softening. Continuing to monitor the speed of your thoughts, redirecting yourself to the breath, matching the rhythm and pacing of the breath, just slowing yourself down. And just checking in again with the heart, allowing it to be just as it is in this moment. Feeling the breath moving in, moving out. Letting that be the anchor for your present moment experience. Seeing if you might be holding on to anything that is keeping you from being in this moment. That something might be a concern. It might be a thought that's ruminative in nature. It might be something that needs to be accomplished later today. Whatever it is that is showing up for you in this time and this space, seeing if you can acknowledge it with kindness and reassure it that you will tend to it, but not right now. That right now, your focus is tending to yourself, to your own needs. That whatever generosity of spirit or action that you would take for someone else later today, later in your week, you're now going to turn that kindness and energy toward yourself. Taking these moments to tend to your own needs, to advocate and champion for your own challenges and difficulties, to be in companionship with yourself. So putting aside whatever might be getting in the way, knowing that you'll return to it later, but that your energy right now is being committed to a different purpose, perhaps a higher purpose, making sure that your needs are being heard and seen by you. That you have a moment of respite from all of the busyness, all of the suffering. But you have a space of stillness and solitude in which you can connect with yourself. Feeling the fullness of the breath as it moves in and as it moves out. Letting those worries, those thoughts, those to-do activities just arise and fall away. Coming back again to yourself as the core, your experience of this moment. Welcoming yourself over and over again to this moment, this breath. Just as we are welcoming ourselves to our practice, we are welcoming ourselves to this present moment and whatever arises in that moment, knowing that we are developing the skills to meet it head on, that we are resilient, that we are unafraid to be with what is there. And for that, we deserve kindness. For our willingness to show up and do the hard work, we deserve compassion. We deserve tenderness. So checking in with the body, seeing if there's any way that you might extend some kindness to the body in this moment. You may have noticed some of that tension creeping back in, and perhaps there's an invitation to soften or release. Perhaps there's a place that has been aching that you might send a kind word. May you find ease. How can you tend to this body that has been working so hard? Keeping you healthy, keeping you strong. Perhaps the invitation is to recognition and gratitude. Thank you. Thank you to my body. Thank you for all you do. Continuing to extend kindness to the body. Sometimes kindness comes in the form of just listening, not ignoring, not judging, but allowing the body to be heard, allowing the body to speak to you. Making those minor postural adjustments can be an act of love to the body. I see your discomfort, and I'm acting to ease it. And inviting that same sense of kindness and tenderness toward the mind. The mind that does not seem to have an off switch at times, so busy trying to keep us safe, so busy trying to protect us from all manner of threats, real and imagined. Inviting tenderness toward the mind, inviting ease. How can you make the experience softer? How can you round those sharp edges to give the mind a little respite? Let it put up its weary feet from the miles and miles of travel and be welcomed by your embrace. And we meet the mind where it is. Maybe this is a day where it's quite busy and there's no slowing it down. But we can step back and observe. Observe with compassion how the mind is today. For whatever reason, it needs to be at this speed. And it might be resistant to our attempts to quiet it. So, can we accept and welcome it as it is? Can we not judge ourselves harshly if the mind is not compliant? If the mind doesn't recognize that this is meditation time and it should be different now? Because there are days like that. And can we welcome it with gratitude? It too is weary from a hard battle. Connecting with your breath. Feeling the air move into the body and out of the body, and welcoming the very air itself. this life-giving air. And shifting our awareness now to the heart. Wherever the heart is for you right now, whether the gates are slammed tight and locked up against the suffering of the world, or perhaps they're flung open wide to receive and to give. And maybe, as is true for most of us, it's somewhere in between. And what is less important than whether the gates are open or closed is how well oiled are those hinges? How easily can we close up when we need to protect ourselves? Or open up when we're able to, when we need to connect, perhaps? We don't need to overvalue one state over the other, but we do need to be aware if we get stuck. If we get stuck with the gates too far open, too much giving, too much suffering with the world. Or if we get stuck with the gates closed, nothing enters, nothing penetrates. A wall of isolation. Can we invite some ease into those hinges that have had such a workout this past year? Can we let our kindness and tenderness toward our own experience be the oil that keeps the hinges moving easily? The heart, too, is a weary traveler, just as the body and the mind are. It has been put through its paces in witnessing the challenges of our world. Can we embrace it, offer it comfort and gratitude for its capacity to keep us connected to one another, even when it's such a challenge, and yet also have the wisdom to protect us? What an amazing thing this heart is. Checking in with the breath, letting the breath be the red thread, the through line, moment to moment to moment. We welcome the breath. From the moment we're born to the moment we die, the ever-present breath, always in the present, always right here for us. And as we welcome the air, we can also welcome the capacity to breathe the air, knowing that there are those in the world who struggle just to breathe. In a moment, we'll transition out of our practice for today, but perhaps before we do, we might just consider what we might carry with us into our day. What from this practice might help us as we move on back into our lives? Help us to keep the thread of compassion toward ourselves. Help us to continue to extend tenderness to our hardworking bodies, to our yes, busy minds, but trying to keep us safe, and our overburdened hearts. What can we carry with us as a reminder of all of their hard work, and that they too need to be welcomed, need to be remembered, need to have their challenges acknowledged, recognized? How can we carry gratitude when so often it's easier to carry judgment, criticism, hatred? I invite you now just to feel again the entirety of your body, noticing the weight of your body on the cushion, on the chair, becoming aware of the sounds around you, perhaps inviting a little movement into the fingers of the toes. And taking a few breaths together, knowing that we are breathing as one. And on those exhalations, sending out any benefit we feel we may have received today out into a suffering world, out into dark corners where light may not reach. Knowing that we are holding our brothers and sisters and the entirety of the planet in our hearts. As we use our practice to continue to uncover our true nature and to continue to try to live our lives from that space.